The old Ford has developed some new problems now. We're getting some hard starts and throwing some codes. Let's look into that. Hot start.
Here's a list of things that can cause the P0171 code. Replaced the fuel filter already, checked for vacuum leaks, replaced an O2 sensor, cleaned the mass airflow sensor, replaced some leaky exhaust parts including the muffler. So I think we're down to the fuel pressure regulator and the injectors. So we got to rule that one or the other out. Let's check the fuel pressure at the rail.
So here it is. Looks like the pressure is 54. It's supposed to be between 30 and 60, so that is very acceptable. Let's see what happens when we shut the engine. Drops to zero almost immediately. That is unacceptable. So after all the goofing around and all the things I've tried, I've narrowed it down to the pressure drops as soon as the truck gets shut off. So that brings it two things, well, three things really. There's no external leak, so that's not the problem. So there's an internal pressure relief somewhere. So it's either the injectors leaking down into the engine or the check valve, which unfortunately is part of the fuel pump in this vehicle, inside the gas tank. So I don't think it's the injectors, but we don't know for sure. If they were leaking down into the cylinders that fast, I would be surprised. Plus, your oil would be rising as it seeps across your rings as it sits overnight. So your oil will be up and it'd be in bad shape. Where my oil isn't up, in fact, it's a half quart down right now. So the key I found to isolate each one and test it is here at the fuel filter. So I took the fuel filter end of the hose off and hooked it up to my pressure gauge. Let's see what happens when I turn on the key. Okay, it goes up and then immediately it goes down as soon as the fuel pump kicks off. It only kicks on for 5 seconds or less. Let's see. Let's try it again. 1,000, 2, 1,000. Only about 2 seconds it kicks on until the vehicle starts. And since the vehicle isn't starting, so we're losing pressure in the check valve, in the fuel pump, in the gas tank. So that's what I get to change. Yay! Working with gasoline sucks enough. You don't need the additional surprise of electricity thrown in to disconnect your battery. First, take the 3 screws out of the gasoline filler tube. Unplug the lights on the driver's side rear by the bumper. Remove the 6 bolts from the bed. There's 4 back here and 2 up there. I snapped off 3 of the 6 using the T55 torque bit and a breaker bar. So I didn't reuse the bolts, of course. Go to the store and get your 12mm bolts by 1.75 thread, I think. I'll verify that before and post it here. And then up on front here, I snapped that one off, and I just got a bolt, a 12mm or half inch bolt, and it fit down there with a nut. I did this previous to starting this project because I didn't want to goof around with that while I was in the midst of changing the fuel pump. So we had all that taken care of beforehand. Now I can pop it on, pop it off. I was actually kind of surprised there wasn't worse rust. We do have rust, but it all looks surface rust. All the frame looks sturdy, no delamination sort of thing. All the debris out of here. Looks like I'll have to get the hose to get some of that out of here. You don't want to mess around with any of the stuff getting in your gas tank. Clean off the stuff. Air dry. Rinse, repeat. Nah, just kidding. You should only have to do this once. While that's drying, I'm gonna look at a different problem I've been having. The can't quite fill up the gas tank at full throttle at the gas station. I suspect it's the little kink in here in the gas fill tube. I'm gonna see if I can open that up a little bit while that's drying. I zip tied these hoses out of the way, took the collar off. Now you can pull out your old fuel pump. And here we have it. The only thing bad is the check valve, which I suspect is that silver thing, but we're replacing the whole thing as long as you got it out. Don't want to do this again in a couple of months. Not really very much debris down in the tank, so that shouldn't be a problem. The new one came with a strainer, that's good. Now I just got to put it in. All the hoses reattached. Okay. After we've installed a new pump, let's see what happens with the pressure when we turn the key on. Turned up to 10 the first time and held. Turned up to 58 the second time. Turn off. Look at that, it's holding. 54, it's dropping a little bit. Certainly much better than we were getting. It's holding at 52. Well, let's see if it starts any better. Now, let's cycle it on a couple times for the first start. And we'll start her up. Sounds pretty good. I'll report back, see if she continues to start well. And after all said and done, the startup. Beautiful. Also filling up at full throttle now. Apparently that little zip tie was kinking it enough to slow it down, but it's going good now.